Hey everyone, I am MSK, aka Master Swag King, coming at you guys today with another video. And if you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. And in today's video, we are going to be doing a comic book review on Battle Brick Road Volume 1. So this is a indie comic book that is done by the name of a guy called Eric Weathers. He is a indie comic book letterer. So he's a person that basically letters a lot of comic books in the indie comic sphere. And at some point, he decided to himself he was going to do his own comic book series. And I'm pretty sure, as you guys know, just from the comic book name itself, Battle Brick Road, which is kind of the thing that I thought of when I first basically heard of this book's name, is that it's actually inspired very, very heavily from The Wizard of Oz. And if you guys want to see an episode of the Iron Man podcast where I actually did a one-on-one with Eric Weathers, you would have to go and watch that on my Rumble channel. So basically, go on my Rumble channel, which is a link in the description box below. You can go in on my Rumble channel and search through the episodes of the Iron Man podcast, and you can, watch and listen to the one where I talk to him one-on-one, because after that, well, as you guys know, on Twitter, I'm someone that calls a lot of CG people retarded, actually a lot. So, that didn't actually go very well with him, because I asked him, like, hey, man, you want to come back on for another one-on-one? He was like, well, I'm not going to come on the show anymore. And I was like, well, okay, all right, fuck you then. But, all's fair in love and war. But I do this thing in my life where I don't care if I like the person. All that matters is if I like their work. I can separate the artist from the art, because, good old Eric Weathers does not like when people criticize his daddy EVS, because he also has worked with EVS on Cyberfrog titles. He's the main letterer of Cyberfrog, from what I know. I've seen his name in the credits of the freaking front cover page of Cyberfrog books that are the new ones, like Blood Honey and Wreck Planet and all that shit. And obviously, since he's with Ethan, then he can obviously have himself get other people to letter their comic books. He's like, well, I have this guy named Eric Weathers, and he can fucking letter your book too. So, it's obviously a, hand-in-hand motion going on there to get Eric Weathers more money. He was also the guy that lettered Rippaverse comic books, actually. But ever since you had the EVS and Eric July falling out, he doesn't letter any Rippaverse comic books anymore. He hasn't lettered one since what? Salvage PI, that 13-page story in Ribbazine #1. Ever since, I think it was that one, or it was Yaira #1, where he wasn't, going to be there anymore.
Yeah, because, look and see. I don't remember.
Yeah, because let's be honest here, he's been working with EVS for so long, he's going to be an EVS guy. It's just going to be what it is. But I told people this in this review. It's not about Comicsgate. It's not about EVS. All that matters in this review is just going over, did he create something good? So, now that you guys know all of that, this is something that I want to say. So, he is very lucky. This was very good. I will give it to him. This was very well put together. The art was great. The direction of the book was great. The pacing was pretty cool. The dialogue was cool. It felt very Wizard of Oz if it was in some sort of like a sci-fi world kind of thing. It basically is Wizard of Oz with a sci-fi twist to it, and it actually works out very well. But even with all of that, and I did like the book, and this might actually go in one of my favorite books of the year. You're fucking lucky, you piece of shit. He's so lucky this was good.
Calm down.
Because if this wasn't good, I would not at any point think about investing into Battle Brick Road Volume 2, because I can tell he's the guy where he's like, well, I gotta wait like 4 years for quality. And it's like, dude, that's a problem there. It's because, like, the reason why a lot of people don't come back to books like these is because they weren't like the investment of waiting for the 4 years of time, And keep in mind,
it takes a lot, dude. Like, it can take a lot. Like, I'm talking some of the greatest books I've ever read. If you told me Frank Miller's 300, like, if I picked up the first issue of that and I read it, I loved that book. Great book. I had a great Frank Miller story. And then they told me the next issue would come out in 4 years. I would sell the book and just be like, nah, not worth the investment. I'm like, why? I'm not going to remember the story 4 years from now. I'm going to have read so much other shit by then. Like,
like, that's the point is,
not comic books work.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is a lot of them use that argument.
Write novels, dude. The novel fans are used to waiting that kind of shit.
Yeah.
out.
No, it's just, what's crazy, man, is the mainstream industry that they always criticize when it comes to like CG. Do they not have any self-awareness to the point where it's like they've made and put out stuff on time? That was, and keep in mind, they did it for so many years. That's why they were fans of comic books, and that made them want to actually work in the comic industry. So this bullshit fucking notion a lot of them have where it's like waiting for quality. That's so stupid. Guys, I can literally not.
That only qualifies for like the first year, maybe. And in the second year, it's kind of like,
even Image,
some bullshit
when they first started,
going on.
Image had a lot of bullshit happen when it came to like distribution and problems because the guys that came over, well, they were more like creators and actual like business people. But later on, it got to the point where they could put out floppies consistently, have titles and series, and hire people. So I just don't agree with this notion that you have to wait 4 years for quality. First of all, guys, I can literally give you recommendations for series right now that you can just get in floppies monthly, and you're not waiting for quality. These are, in my opinion, very good books, actually. I could recommend you series right now that Marvel and DC have done that are very, very good. Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern run. Buy the first trade. Second trade just came out. I'll be reviewing that trade with Last Comic Fan at some point, probably in a few weeks when it comes to my doorstep. Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern run, great. I recently read, oh my God, fucking good Lord. I mean, Joker by Brian Azzarello, great book. So many.
Story.
The Horseman, Welcome to Forest Park, Rippaverse comic, great book. Read that. Didn't wait for that for too long. Like, I literally have a pile of books over there that I've read that I can just show you right there. Ultimate Spider-Man, Married with Children, Volume 1, great. Transformers, Robots in Disguise, Volume 1. Transformers, Transform to Oblivion, Volume 2. All that stuff I'm not waiting for. I have plenty of series that I could read right now without waiting for anything. I don't need CG to be my
and that's kind of the point. It's like, if you as a creator are so disinterested in the book that you're writing that it takes you 4 years to do it, that takes you 3 years to do it, that takes you 2 years to fucking do it, how do you expect your audience to be interested in that? Because you're not. What you're telling your audience right there is you have no interest. You aren't so engaged with the story that you're telling that you can't stop putting it together. Then why would I be engaged with that? Like, I see guys like Vaughn. Vaughn's whole fucking thing is like, I'm working on my book. I'm so into this next story. I'm so into issue 2. And he's hustling for it, and he's getting it worked on. And he's just writing it. He isn't even the artist. He isn't doing both of these things. But he's so engaged with the work that he's doing that you, as a fan or as, a person who purchases comic books, you can't help but feel that engagement, but feel that interest, to get drug in by this creator that's so in love with the work that he's doing that it pulls you along with it, that you want to be there too. You want to be a part of what's going on with it. And that's not what you get from people who sit there and be like, it takes 3-4 years for quality. Now, I waited for this book for a year, and it's been out for a year before that, I think, anyways. But I will say it is quality.
It's very good.
The story's good. The cover is good. The paper is good. It's what you would expect from a trade.
It isn't
one of these books where he spent too much on paper, which drives me nuts.
Yeah. I have a few critiques, but other than that, I thought it was a very good, well put together comic book series so far. So outside of what I said earlier, you can go and watch my one-on-one with him on the Iron Man podcast on my Rumble channel if you get to the episode.
Absolutely.
I bought this dinged and dented, he said, because he did a sale on, I think, a Drink of Crazy's fucking Iron Knights show. And he was selling these dinged and dented. I'll be honest here, they weren't dinged and dented at all. I can show you right here. There's nothing wrong with the book. There's literally, it's perfect.
Nice.
I don't know why he was selling it dinged and dented. Maybe there was a slight error on like maybe a crease or something, but I don't know. I don't know why it was sold that way. But if he has Battle Brick Road Volume 2 up on his website after it gets done fulfilling, then I'll buy it. There's no reason why for me not to. I enjoyed the series. Yeah. But if Volume 2 is not good and it's not as good as this one, no need for me to keep coming back. I'm not waiting 4 years for that. I have plenty of other comic book series that I could be investing my time into. Now, if I'm not saying I want it to be bad. I know he's a guy that does care about putting out a good product. I've talked to him before, so I will give him that. But let's go into it in just a moment here. So the overall story of the book is kind of basically Wizard of Oz in so many different ways. He does give a lot of credit to the book there, and I want to make sure I have this here.
Great take. This was a really good concept. I got to give him credit. This was a very for for basically doing another Yellow Brick Road story or a public domain story. This is how you do it in a way that's so interesting.
He made one character actually really interesting. And to be fair, the writer on the book is these are who the credits are. Zeb Hatfield is the writer. Eric, he did the art and he did the letters, obviously. And the colors were by Vincent Townsend. I've heard of that guy. Most of the people I've heard of before. And keep in mind, none of us ever said none of these guys were good at what they were doing. They just take too fucking long to get it done. No one ever said their quality is bad. I mean, let's just talk about specific people, obviously, you know?
Yeah. I think Eric took a reasonable amount of time to get the first issue out. Like, it wasn't years. Like, it took him about a year.
And what's 2 chapters, too?
What most indie people end up doing anyways. So...
Also, the character, as you guys know, in the Wizard of Oz, it's a character named Toto. This is the dog. He's in the book. He's actually utilized in a much more better way than just being a fucking dog. He's utilized as that kind of robot-friendly character that the main hero usually has. Dorothy's the main character, but they don't really call her Dorothy in the book. She's most just known as Gail. There's this kind of story that's overarching later on that hopefully Volume 2 will get into when it comes to, like, finding her dad. The flying monkeys looked great, honestly, looked very vicious. The only real issue I have with the book was that so it basically comes down to a point of like, there's 4, because I remember in the original book there's 4 wicked witches, right? There's a wicked witch of the north, east, west, and south, right? So that's very similar to this. So the villain felt very generic. It was the wicked witch of the east. I'm pretty sure that was the witch for this book. Felt very generic. It felt like a ripoff of Starro. That's what it felt like. Legitimately, the villain is a ripoff of Starro. All the villain just mind controls people with these helmets, and then that's it. That's just what the villain was. Pretty generic.
To be fair, though, dude, Starro isn't even. Well, Starro's original, but if you think about it, like, you've had like, whatchamacallit.
Like, she felt like
the Borg in Star Trek.
I know you
even
guys
in DC.
Yeah, I know you guys watched my Absolute Power hardcover review I did with Last Comic Fan. This character feels like a mixture of the Brainiac Queen and Starro put in one. I just didn't feel like the villain was all that interesting, and the art on the villain is so ugly. Like, this is the only really that looks bad. Like, come on.
Yeah,
come on,
that wasn't the best page in the book for sure. Even I thought that when I looked at that page, my first look at it, I'm like, this feels a little out of place with the rest of the art in this book.
Yeah, it does.
And I'm wondering if maybe there was a different inker on it or something that kind of the way it looked, it was interesting because, like, it's definitely not this.
It's so crazy right here. How a lot of them will criticize
very different
Rippaverse on villains and shit. That villain is just very not bad. Yeah. It's just very generic. It's just I've seen this villain.
Well, like, it looked like they were doing like a stained glass window picture. Like, that wasn't great. This art here.
That was better.
That was better. Yeah, that looked a little better. That was a good page. But yeah, the kind of mind control villain is such a.
We start off in chapter 1.
Common thing.
Dust to Dust. So it's broken into 2 chapters for volume 1. As I said just a second ago there, Dust to Dust is the first chapter, and the second chapter is called East Witch. So the book begins basically with them going to, good Lord, it was just a giant canyon crater that they're going to initially up front. And then Dorothy is on a mission with these other guys. And then after that, their ships get attacked by the flying monkeys. As you guys know, the flying monkeys are henchmen of the Wicked Witch of the East, obviously. And they attack the air flight carriers that they're in. And then she ends up escaping. It was actually pretty brutal how the flying monkeys were actually killing a lot of them. And then what I also enjoyed about the book was that this book was very good at kind of balancing out a backstory, balancing out present, balancing out how serious the tone of the story actually is. It was a really good concept. Hey, combining Wizard of Oz and sci-fi together, great idea. Because after that, you start
really good direction.
You start getting into the backstory of Gail. Basically, her father was hiding something from her as a little girl, as he was running away from bad guys. Then basically he says, hey, Toto is going to protect you. He's your companion. And that's Toto in the book. Toto's not a dog. Toto's just a giant spherical robot that just
dog thing is what they call it. But yeah,
just keep in mind, another thing we've seen over and over and over again. I would have preferred, if you're going to go that concept, I would prefer if it's like a mechanical dog. You know, I would have preferred that. But
yeah,
I just feel like a very lazy design on Toto, but the Toto character is fine. It's a very useful character. So Toto ends up protecting her, and then later on, the dad is like, "Hey, I'll come back for you, but I have to leave you." He ends up leaving her with the aunt and uncle that you guys know from the book. Obviously, I forget their names all the time, but just the aunt and uncle, honestly. And then it comes down to the point
which are like leaders of this like military resistance group or some shit.
Yeah. And then you get to this part where the dad is having a conversation with a villain, and then the villain ends up capturing her dad, and then she's basically all alone. She has to end up traveling to her aunt and uncle. Then you flash forward back to the present, where it was before that incident in the first part of the book, where her uncle says, "Hey, we have a message from your dad." She hasn't seen her dad ever since what I just said there, since she was a little girl. She was about good 8 years old right there. So her uncle tells her, "Hey, we have this message here from your dad." Her dad tells her about, the Wizard of... essentially, he tells her about a place she needs to get to, and following the Yellow Brick Road. As we all know in Wizard of Oz, you must follow the Yellow Brick Road. So the uncle tries to stop her. In usual, typical story fashion, the main character doesn't listen and goes against the wishes of their actual, guardian, which is what happens. But then it goes and flashes back to the first part of the book where the flying monkey is about to kill her. And this was the only part that I was kind of a little confused in. So she was dropping out of that air carrier, right? And then Toto got a pod for her to be safe in. So Toto ended up finding this pod and launching this pod to the point where, she got into it before the flying monkey could get to her, and she ends up going down, pause, no pun intended, and landing in a city, actually, that she doesn't know where she's at. So that's the first part of the book. Sets up the conflict of where they want to go. You get your backstory. It flashes forward to the journey, and it gets her to the point where she is at the first part of the book, and just kind of ties in a narrative together. Really good. A lot of books that we've read on here with Savage Dad and Last Comic Fan, a big problem with them generally is like the storytelling gets really jumbled. Like sometimes it can feel very like all over the place sometimes, but I felt, at least in chapter 1, was very good. And then you get chapter 2, which is called E-Switch, where Dorothy is trying to basically radio in, "Hey, I don't know where I'm at right now." And then Toto ends up attacking these people who were trying to attack her because she was getting attacked by people with helmets on their head, very similar to Starro. I was like, this is literally just Starro. What the hell? We've seen this before.
It was very similar, but this kind of villain concept isn't. It's been used in tons of places, so it's not the worst, like most out of place thing. It's just a concept of like people who are mentally controlled. I mean, hell, they even use this concept in the fucking WandaVision show. They were all just basically being mentally manipulated by Wanda. Starro's done it. Who does it in the Marvel universe? There's somebody like that. Shit. It's escaping my brain right now. Like Purple Man does that shit.
She's now in Eastwood after Toto takes care of those people being brain controlled by those masks. And she asks for Toto to, hey, go and look for people, see what the hell's going on. She ends up getting attacked once again. Then these two other characters save her. I forget this guy and this girl's name. I don't know what their names are. I didn't care, honestly.
Oh, what was it? It's here somewhere, I thought.
Yeah, it's these guys right here. Those characters.
Yeah, maybe it's later in there. I thought they mentioned them there in the front, but
basically those characters are just telling them that, okay, so long story short, to go through this part, this is pretty much paint by the number storytelling, which is not bad. I'm still intrigued.
Yep.
There's 4 witches.
It still moved along. It was interesting.
There's 4 witches.
Like, the art is good.
It's this part. So there's 4 witches essentially, and this happened to be the one where one of the witches came in and just started taking control of everybody. Though it's said that it didn't start out that way, it eventually did come to that way. So that's one of the 4 witches. So I'd imagine in the next book we'll get to the next villain, which is another witch right there. Probably. So after we get to know that, they end up being surrounded by everyone in town because obviously this is a full city of people. And then she ends up coming into contact because she thought she was safe with one of the Wicked Witches. This is the Wicked Witch of the East, if I'm not.
Yeah, and this is like a stained glass picture of the witch too, which is which is kind of weird. I don't know if they were in front of a church or where it was that came up, but then you get to actually see kind of the robot witch or watcher or whatever they called her.
So then
the art was really good. Like, I really appreciated the landscapes that he had and the close-up face shots and everything. Like, this is good quality art that he did here. This is pro stuff. This is an image book right here. That
very good. Yeah.
Here's kind of the throwdown here. Like,
yeah, and the dialogue wasn't generic either.
Complain on these.
The dialogue was fine. Like, throughout the book, I was interested in the dialogue. The only real issue with the dialogue is that when certain characters were kind of info dumping, you could just tell these are just info dump characters. You're not gonna care about these characters later on. She ends up fighting the Wicked Witch of the East, but she ends up obviously basically losing. It gets to a point where she's choked up and wrapped up, honestly. And after that, it ends up coming to a point of her basically, okay, so she ended up blowing that. Hold on. No, sorry, I hit the wrong page. My bad. Oh my good. Okay, so after that, she ended up blowing up part of the ceiling. And then after that, she ended up having that part of the ceiling smash down on the Wicked Witch of the East. And then that ended up taking out her influence on everyone. And I'm like, this all-powerful villain got taken out by basically a giant ceiling structure falling on her. But then again, you gotta realize it's also a robot, so a lot of pressure applied to them would kill them automatically pretty much anyway. So the influence over the witch is gone.
It's very similar to what happened at the beginning of kind of the movie when Dorothy's house landed on the Wicked Witch of the East. I'm just wondering if she's going to steal her shoes. That didn't
happen.
Like issue 2, she grabs some shoes and,
Also, in the book, we don't get to see the Cowardly Lion or the Scarecrow or Tin Man.
That was kind of disappointing.
I think he's waiting for those reveals at the end of the book because we only basically get to see like the Tin Man later on. They gave a hint toward the Scarecrow very early in, like later in chapter 2, but the lion's not here. Later on in the book,
tiger though.
That's true. So the Wicked Witch of the East is dead. And if I mispronounce the directions, you can correct me. That's what I assumed it was. So we end up getting to a point.
You get him kind of at the end. But like the very end,
Okay.
So, interesting to see, but
we end up getting to a point where, so as you know, with the Wizard of Oz, one of the main characters is the wizard. Now in the movie, I didn't know the book very well. I mean, we were read the book in school, but I don't remember him from the book form. The movie form was essentially basically like con artist, technically. It's like a smoke and mirrors type of character where people think he's all powerful, all knowing, but it turns out he's just kind of a nobody. He just kind of just props himself up to be a character that, people hope is something versus what he actually is. So they're talking about basically her dad left her a message, follow the yellow brick road, that would basically kind of have her end up in Emerald City to the point where she would follow the yellow brick road to another destination. Now, these guys don't believe the wizard's still alive. And then Dorothy's like, we have to go and track down the wizard to find out where my dad is. But the wizard hasn't been seen in a very, very long time. So after that, they end up entering Emerald City where the yellow brick road starts forming, But the same thing happens in the first part of the book where they end up getting attacked by these mutant tigers, these mutant tiger gorillas.
Yeah, they look weird. They look like bear tigers or something.
These are bear tigers, yeah. They do give a nod to the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow's there as a nod. You're like, oh, there's a Scarecrow there. So
at the very end, it's like, oh, look, there's the Scarecrow, who looks pretty cool. Like, I'll say this is probably one of the best, better looking characters in the whole book.
Yeah,
He looks original. He looks interesting. He's got a good nod.
Was that the Tin Man or the Scarecrow?
Who he is. That's the Scarecrow.
Pretty sure it's Scarecrow.
You can see, like, he's got a good nod to who he is here. You can't see it under there, but here you go. My name is in the way, but there we go.
Like the way
you get a good nod to who he is here.
Like the way the tigers, the way the tiger gorillas killed people, the same way the flying monkeys did. Yeah, was awesome. I like that. But you do eventually get the reveal of the Scarecrow. He does end up saving her.
Yeah, it looks good.
How that would happen.
I'm interested to see, and this is what he did that was really smart that I liked about this book, is that he saved that reveal to the end of it. What's that?
Yeah. So
you have the end of your. I have this at the end of mine.
After
mine has a weird special story. Did you get this?
Good. No, mine does too. So after Tin Man, I keep saying Tin Man. Oh my goodness. My dick is a Tin
Scarecrow.
Man. Just kidding. So after the Scarecrow saves Dorothy from the tiger gorillas, she basically he's like, you can't pay your respects. We don't have time. And then he says, and that's the end of the book. Oh, sorry, volume 1 is, and the danger is only beginning. So basically, what Eric did when with a combination of Zeb Hatfield, he essentially did the movie, but he only just did the first act, and he kind of just took a different spin on the first act of the first part of the movie, because
that's a really different spin. That's what I appreciate.
Yeah,
that I think he did something that was both original and used these public domain characters and did something really original with it. It's honestly what I'm really looking forward to when we finally get to a point where they're doing when Batman hits open domain from Golden Age Batman. I want to see people doing something. You know what? If you want to tell classic Batman stories, that would be pretty fucking cool. If you want to go back and tell stories in that time period, like Batman, do like Batman noir stories, do stuff that we didn't get a lot of back then. But something like this too, where you're doing an interesting premise. Like, I'm looking forward to see what, dude, the indie comic space is going to get kind of hot when guys can start just snatching up Batman from the Golden Age and use him. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild.
Yeah. Other than that, pretty much you have this little backup story here. I'm going to be completely honest here. I did not read this, nor did I care about it, because it wasn't part of the main book. I mean, I might read it later on in my free time, but this really has no actual impact. I mean, it could. It could. I really don't know why it's here.
Yeah, I didn't read it yet either. I was going to read it when I kind of just put the book away.
This art
it just looked like something funny and extra he added in there. It's like a
funny webtoon. Yeah, it's like like a 10-page, 12-page Sunday newspaper comic strip in long form. It's like, buddy, Eric, you don't need to put this there. No one gives a fuck about that.
Or publish it on the webpage or something. I don't know. If he's having fun with it, that's fine. Sure. If it's more content, throw it in. Whatever. If that, I mean, what was nice also about the story,
this nice
what he did
cover sketch.
Oh yeah, what he did at the end here, what he did with the story that was really good, that told me he'd really actually thought this through very well, is that he did exactly what you said. He ended it when it needed to end. He didn't add more filler. There wasn't a bunch of fluff I didn't need. He gave the characters the kind of background and development they needed, and he introduced characters that, if you know what this is that you're looking for, like, where's the Lion, where's the Tin Man, where's the Scarecrow? Well, you got the Scarecrow in like the last 10 pages of the book after you had a lot of setting up Dorothy, and that's fine. The movie kind of started off that way.
Dorothy is the main character. He
really paid homage or whatever, however the fuck you want to say it, to the concept of what he's borrowing from here, and he brought something very new to it and very interesting, very engaging. It was well written. The art was good. Is this, Joe Mad freaking on the X-Men? No, but not few people are. Almost nobody is. But it's good. This is good art. I don't feel like I got cheaped out on art. I don't feel like I got cheaped out on the story. This is a good story. This is a good book. This is definitely one of the better things I've read this year. It's not Transformers Volume 2 or anything.
Yeah.
Again, fewer things are, but it is very good. I'll put this on the playing field of Vaughn's Phenomenova. And I know that I should be better than him. Whatever. I enjoyed it just as much. I had just as much fun with the story as I did with Phenomenova. And at the end of the day, that's the kind of thing that's going to get me to spend money on another issue. And that's what matters.
Yeah.
As a consumer, not even a consumer, as a purchaser, as a fan, as a
fan of,
as somebody with money you want. Yeah. As a long-term fan of comics that has more long boxes than anybody I know except for John. This is good stuff. This I enjoyed. I will read more of it.
Very good. Yeah.
Great job. And again, I don't give a shit who the fuck he's affiliated. I don't care that he thanked Ethan Van Sciver, who, as best I can tell, had nothing to do with this book in the back of it. Don't give a shit. It was good. It arrived in what can be considered a reasonable amount of time,
given that he had no inventory left. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and
printers have been going through issues. I understand that.
And it was good, and that's it. And you know what? He also hasn't ever come out and said I can go fuck myself or he hates me. I wonder, does he have me blocked on X though? I mean, None of them do. They seem to just show up in my tweets sometimes, but I don't think he does. Let's see. Let's find out. Does Eric Weathers hate me on the internet? Does he even know who I am? No idea. Eric Weathers. Looks like I follow him.
No,
nope.
I'm not blocked.
Yeah, he doesn't have me blocked or anything. So
no, then I'd be blocked at all. But he is he's letterer for All Caps Comics. So good luck with that, dude. Eric.
Yeah, he must be really busy right now with the no comic books coming out. But hey, that ain't his problem. He's got his own book that isn't All Caps Comics that he's working on, and good for him. So here, I'm happy to see that issue 2 is printing. I'll pick it up when it's in regular.
I'm just gonna pick it up when it's on his website. How about that? I'm not waiting for your printer bullshit.
Pretty much what I was thinking about.
Yep, I'll buy it on your website. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so I'll even help him out here because even though he's a fucking interesting dude in of itself, he's definitely not an on-camera personality. That's what I noticed when I had a one-on-one with him. I felt like even if I did get a second one-on-one with him, it probably wouldn't have been that good because he's just not an on-camera personality at all. He's very just like he's one of those reserved kind of Kansas boys. He's like, oh, well, I moved the hay in the barn and I drive the tractor. It's like fucking hell, man. But no, I'll help Mr. Eric out. Here's his website, battlebrickroad.com. You can see that Battlebrick Road Volume 2 got about 87K. 87K out of like 1,000 backers.
Not bad.
Pretty good. This is the cover I'm getting for Volume 2. I'm getting cover A, but I'm only getting it when it's available on his website. I'm not doing that fucking bullshit right there. But overall, for me, I really liked a lot of things about the book. I might have this as one of my favorite books of the year, depending on everything else that's coming out. When we start Transformers Volume 3, it's going to drop.
It's definitely up there. I would say that, I don't know. I'd have to sit down and think, but it's pretty early in the year. But I can say right now it's in my top 5.
Yeah,
and my only real issue could stay within the top 10.
My only real issue was the villain. Though the villain was just not very good, given how hyped the chapter was.
Again,
in the movie, she is taken care of.
Could have done more. In the villain, she just dies right away anyway. So
I mean, it's very synergistic. Yeah, it's so.
Yeah, he's got to give me the Wicked Witch of the West being like a fucking tank, man, a badass.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, I really enjoyed the characterization of Dorothy. I liked the changes with Toto. I don't like the design of Toto, but I thought it was a better way to utilize him than just being a fucking regular dog. The sci-fi twist on the Wizard of Oz story made it a lot more compelling, a lot more interesting.
Very compelling.
I like the design of the flying monkeys that he did. I did enjoy that basically he took the first act of the movie and basically just put it into a comic book form where you could basically get more action out of it. It's not just like, oh, it's a musical, it's follow a yellow brick road. It made things a lot more interesting. And keep in mind, you didn't get everything all at once, which was fine. It was fine to kind of progress through the book. And you had like her backstory, you had this mystery with her dad. What if her dad was the wizard? We don't know yet. Could be the case. He might just be the wizard, or he might not be her dad. Because
I was thinking that, like, I mean, it's not really a spoiler if you've been reading comic books as long as me, like, you can see things like that coming. And if he does that, even if I see it coming, I don't care. That's going to be fucking good. Like, that will be wild. I'm down. That's still interesting. That's not bad storytelling. It's just me having read a lot.
Yeah.
Fucking comic
perfectly
books.
Good. Perfectly awesome setup. The first half is better than the second half, but the second half, it only gets hurt by the villain. Other than the villain just getting beaten that quickly and not really being that good, and it basically just being he basically made the Wicked Witch of the East like Starro mixed with Brainiac Queen. It's really all it was. But I did enjoy the book. The pacing was great. The dialogue was good. The characters that you don't care for, you saw them get killed. They were only there for the purpose that they need to be, just fine. And it gave me
I thought the letters were easily as good as the letters in Isom.
God, good Lord, man. Oh, the other last thing I'll say was the fact that I always got this sense of, like, in the book, you didn't know what was going to happen in a good way. Like, you didn't know these characters were going to get killed. It was nice to have the stakes elevated the way they were, and the reveal of the Scarecrow was very, very good. And it ended off kind of with them following the Yellow Brick Road, going to where, we're going to get the Cowardly Lion and the Tin Man later on. So I don't know what the last 2 chapters will be on, but we'll see where it goes. I'll be getting Battle Brick Road Volume 2 when it's on his website after it's done.
I will
crowdfunding. Yeah. So thank you guys for checking out this video. If you guys are returning viewers or new viewers, then please consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and comment down below. Also, make sure you guys hit the notification bell. That way you guys can get notified on whenever I upload a brand new video. I'm MSK, aka Master Swag King, and we're going to sign out, guys. See you guys later. Deuces.